brothers decide to change the game. This year, see the podcast that everyone's calling amazing, Blacker Than Black.
To the artist for artists.
To artist for artists.
This is the Artist for Artists podcast.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm here, man. I literally just started Artist for Artists up again. I had a few people literally reach out to me and just say, yo, I need you to bring that back. And I think what happened for me was after the pandemic, I just went straight into work mode. Like, I was grinding, just trying to figure out life again, which I feel like everybody was at that time when just stuff started kicking back up, things started opening back up. Everybody was just rushing to the gig, rushing to the bag, and just trying to make life make sense again, you know? But during that process, I really just been in my bag a lot of trying to rediscover myself. And I got to a place where I was really just trying to find some guidance into just what my purpose is, you know? And I think for a long time, we all go into that wall of working, and then you sit and you look at it and it's like, okay, when does my purpose kick in? You know what I mean? And it could be the simplest things that we just bypass because we're just so focused on working. And it was literally right in front of me, and I didn't realize how much Artist for Artists was actually helping me because we just go by and we just pass each other so much, you know, just because of what we do as artists. Right. You got gigs, I got gigs. I got a family, you got a family. You have life happening for you, I got life happening for me. So it's like when we see each other, it's always love, but it's just a tunnel vision. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like Artist for Artists was actually helping me just feel like somebody could relate. You know, like I have people in the biz that's like, yo, I'm going through the same thing. Even though we say, what's up, love you, see what you're doing, bang. We don't get the chance to really sit down and go through that. Nah, bro, I really know what you're going through. Right. Like,
that's literally me now. I'm like, wow, really, that's how you feel.
And before we even go there, because now we about to kick in gears. So I got two of my guys with me, man. Like I said, I started Artist for Artists again. I got my boy Malik here. He's a familiar face. Well, he Leek now, man, because a lot has changed since the last time we spoke to this guy on Artist for Artists during the pandemic. But he's been one of my bros, I want to say, since we were, what? I think I met Malik, man. Well, no, I've known you. Let me take this back.
20s now.
Let me take this back. And I got a whole nother guest too in a second. But I've known Malik, or known of Malik, since I was about maybe 14, 15. About 14, 15. We're going to get to all of that in a minute. Wow. But Malik is here, man. A phenomenal artist, a phenomenal singer, a phenomenal producer.
Thank you for having
one
me,
of New York's finest. Let's get into the bag, bro.
I do.
One of the dudes in the game, man. And then I got the guy. Let me tell you something, man. One of the smoothest, humble dude I think I have met in the game so far that has just opened his like arms, bro. And a lot of people don't do that. Like, a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't see something that you're doing that is familiar to them and will literally reach their hand down and say, bro, it's nothing. Yeah. This guy right here, and I mean, for his status, he really doesn't have to. I mean, when you talk about TV, when you talk about grind, when you talk about work, when you talk about time, you talk about Zaxaiii.
Yeah.
I got my boy Zaxaiii here, man. And he's let me get away with calling him Birdo for so long. and don't get me wrong, Birdo is this is Birdo.
Family
but
knows.
artistry is he goes by Zaxaiii. So we gonna make sure we give him his props and his due. So I got my two guys here, man. Thank y'all again.
Man, thank y'all for having me, for real, man.
I mean, first episode, I got my crew here, man, and I think my main purpose here, and just to do all of this, is really to just get into some of the nitty gritty of like just the background of everything and just the history of you two guys, and just never know how people's lives you can just embrace and learn from, pick certain jewels from, and just, you know, use that to kind of move forward. So I know I started with you, Leek, and I said I've known Leek since I was a teenager. And I'm going to let him go into his history a little bit, but I'm going to tell you how I know Leek, okay? I met Leek when he was singing with a group. Okay, and if anybody knows what I'm talking about, this group was like New York's like stamp for me growing up.
Wow.
Cause we were in the same. And I'm not saying that like Leek is old or nothing like that. We the same.
We was young doing it.
You know, but it's like to see somebody else doing it, man. Like his group was like the hope for me. I was like, wow, bro, like that. It's literally like a whole nother ball game to this stuff. You know what I mean? Met him singing with a group called Lavray, right?
I knew you.
Now, I mean, you gotta know. You gotta know. When I say Lavray, it's like ding, ding, ding.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
Because you wasn't playing with Lavray.
Vocal standard.
You wasn't playing with Lavray. So,
Y'all hear
if
that?
I'm not mistaken,
Lavray?
and I should have been like the fan club of Lavray, I promise you that, because I felt like I knew everything. But if I'm not mistaken, when Lavray came out, Malik wasn't a part like in the beginning. Not in the beginning. I remember it was that's another podcast for like talking about all of that. But I know when Malik first was in the group, I remember seeing him, man, and when I heard this dude sing. Now people think my range is stupid.
It is.
It's bro.
They're thinking correctly. Bro.
Nah.
What you talking about?
Malik will start up, bro.
In the sky. Or reading Rainbow.
Yo, young, right? Still now though, but young, bro. And his voice is like a ping pong, bro. I tell people that all the time. It's like he don't miss. It's like he'll go and his notes, bro. It's like he don't miss, but it's like his voice just soars. It like it reaches and then it does not hit. And it's been like that.
I'm getting
From
uncomfortable
jump.
with all of this love, man.
Bro,
I'm like,
but that's why I always like anytime Leek has something going on, anytime any way I can support, because
that's love.
with me being in my group, with me being with Derek and Driven, we were always like it was a great joke. Like we were always, man, from like doing like what was it, the Stellars and like all the other stuff like that. We were always just we were fam. So watching him start from that to where he is now, and you could talk more about that too, Leek. Just your journey through everything, man. But this guy is
definitely
crazy, bro.
I don't even know how to follow up, but yeah, man. Name's Malik, but everybody calls me Leek. People call me the Black Pearl now. Pretty much been singing it my whole life. But to speak to where James is speaking from, we met when I was in a gospel group called Lavray. I joined the group, I think it was like maybe 2-3 years after they came to be. I was 19 at the time, or 18 going into 19. We had gotten a deal with Glory to Glory Records, which was under MBK Entertainment. And from there, just to kind of, because I get real uncomfortable. It's a whole lot of accolades. But,
I got you.
It gets weird.
Talk that talk.
You know, during that time of being signed with the group, in my spare time or off time, I was often asked to sing background for different artists that were on the roster of MBK. So I had the privilege of singing with artists like Elle Varner at the time. I've sang for Tyrese. I've sang with Alicia Keys.
And these names that he's naming, right?
I love it. It's just humble with
Bro,
just
like these ain't Grammy. Like Grammy award winning stages, you know.
Race.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
And you know, most notably, her. Shout out Lil Sis, who's doing amazing. And I was singing with her since she was about 12, but when she got famous for the world to see, that was around, I want to say 2016, 2017. So, you know, I've been, you know, with her pretty much her whole career.
And we definitely got to touch that too.
Yeah,
like we definitely got to touch that process and stuff.
For sure.
But even with that now, Berto, I know you've definitely, Zaxaiii.
We fam, and even with the gram and like wherever, like I put Alberto Zaxaiii here. You feel me? Because I feel like my life is going towards so many different avenues. So it's like the Wayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
People will look at the challenge can be, the challenge can be, but then he'll turn around.
Danny Glover.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm cool with it. And we family too, so it's different.
We definitely listen.
I've definitely told people my name is Zaxaiii to you before.
And this is why I wanted him here too. Like I said, Zaxaiii. Now I haven't known Zaxaiii as long as I've known Malik, but it feels like that.
As soon, yeah.
And this is why I wanted like you two guys here, because I wanted to show just how long I've known Malik and like the love and respect I have for him. But then, bro, like you just came out of nowhere, you know, knowing the same people, being even in the same circles, because you got the gospel background as well, but meeting up on a work base and it just felt like everything kind of connected. And it's only been about a few years, bro, and it felt like I've known you since I was about 13, 14 too.
Day one energy,
bro.
That's what it is.
Energy.
Yeah.
I see more than I see my boy that we connected with, Rad.
Yeah. Shout out to Radley.
Yeah.
Shout out to Radley. Know you always find your way. You know, but that's a cool guy too, though. Radley's definitely cool. But with Zaxaiii, like I have to give you your flowers as well, man, because you definitely been doing a lot. You have the church background as well, and the way I met Zaxaiii, he doesn't know that either, but I sat down with Rad one day, and this is when I was watching you on TV.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know you at the time. We weren't friends not gonna say we weren't. Well, we weren't friends. We didn't really know each other exist. You know what I mean? Like I knew of him because of Radley, but we never like really got into contact. But I was watching The Voice.
That's crazy.
I was watching The Voice, and I'm looking up there. I'm like, oh, that's Radley's boy.
No way.
I'm like, that's Radley's boy, because because you know how Radley do, like he'll post up and see it. Like I would just see him, you know. And I know he had did something in New York one time, and he had came to support that, and that's how I matched both up. But I was watching The Voice, and I was watching him killing it. I was watching this man get the turn off the first little Jennifer said, "Bomb." Okay, Jennifer Hudson said, "Bomb." So before we even get to all of that too, man, just piggying back off of Malik, like, you know, how I met him through the church bracket. I don't know if you want to go down that road either, but do you want to just tell us how you started with just everything, man?
Definitely. Well, I guess I'll start from Live Ray and going back, because for me, well, I mean, I started singing at 12, but not professionally until 17, 18. I say professionally because that's when I joined my gospel group, so the kind of familiar, kind of similar kind of thing.
And what was the gospel group?
It was David Material One Accord.
Yeah,
so we were part of One Accord.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And we had it was. I would say it didn't grow to a Live Ray, but I remember a few of my members of rather my bandmates telling me about Live Ray, and I was like, oh snap! I was like, oh yeah, and I started catching you guys when I was like, dang, we catching smoking. And for me, growing up Haitian American, I didn't really have the Black American experience to a degree. You feel me? Like we picked up a few things, and we picked up a few songs, but a lot of it was either remixed to Creole or whatever it may be. I used to tell people we were like the Haitian Tatrubet. Like we wouldn't wear suits to gigs. We just go and mess up the pews.
I remember y'all too. Yeah.
Like sorry, pastor, and then walk out. You feel me? But then from there, I just wanted to just grow, and I went to college. I was still in the gospel choir, and leading worship and all that, and then graduated and became an artist. But even then, that's been like, it'll be 10 years in January of just full on artistry.
Dope.
It's been, I blink my eyes and I'm like, oh snap, I've been at this for a minute.
Time flies.
Yeah. And this dude's so cool and laid back with these glasses.
Jiggy, he's jiggy with it.
Yo, doing
very calm, very cozy.
The day I met Berto, for real, we were both at a rehearsal at our office on the move.
I remember that.
Okay. Yeah, we were both at our office and on the move. I didn't know he was gonna be there. I just came for rehearsal with the group, man, and I came downstairs, and this dude, energy on 100. Berto like, yo, y'all sound great, dude. Yeah, y'all here killing it, baby. Like, that's just Berto. Like,
that really is me. I promise you. Usually it is. I'm just tired, child.
My man be traveling. You like, I'm tired,
bro. But just from that, like, from his energy and his personality, I was like, oh, this is gonna be my bro for life.
Fire.
Life.
He did say.
And I mean, we've had some gigs together. And
those were fun.
Amazing times, because sometimes these gigs don't be fun
at all. And I'm gonna say it right now because I ain't even in the scene. No more. It is what it is.
I'm trying to dodge bullets. Sometimes these gigs don't be as fun, you know. But when you got good people around, it helps.
Yeah.
And Berto's just always been that big bro. Yeah. So I want to touch down on some stuff, man. What was the time? I guess either one of you guys can answer first. But what was the moment when you looked at yourself and I guess the start of your career and say, you know what? I think I'm going to take this full time. Because I know for me, growing up with my parents, and we from the South, so we are like, you get a job, you settle down, make sure you get that retirement, and everything else you want to do, fine.
Right.
So I just always had a job. Like even through high school, I've always had a job. I've always worked with kids with disabilities, in some way or form, whether it was a volunteer, whether it was summer work. Went from that, jump up as a TA, group counselor, group leader. So my whole family's in it. Mom, sister, father, all of us. Wow. And for me, I always wanted to do music full time, but it was always that cushion of like, yo, I don't know about this hustle behind it. You know what I mean? And just the unsure of like, okay, when's the next check? When is this happening? Yeah. All of that stuff. So for me, with my parents kind of like moving back down south, and I was here dolo in New York like at 18.
God bless you.
Well, yeah, yo, people were trying to figure out their next vacation. I was trying to figure out what kind Edison was. Like,
I heard it's not a
wow,
like, y'all going where? Miami? Oh, I gotta find out who Con Edison is,
right.
and I can say hello. Can
right.
you turn on my,
right? Wow,
bro,
at 18 with it,
man, just out of high school, and then at that time I was just starting to sing with Derek, Derek Wright and Driven, and shout out to Derek.
Shout out to Derek.
He's one of the sons of Timothy Wright. Yeah. Rest in peace to Timothy Wright.
Rest in peace.
And he was one of the first groups that I was a part of, and that was the first time I ever got a chance to see something really professionally done. Like everything. Like Derek's mind is stupid when it comes to stuff like that. Like, his background from working with Adele and just the whole nine. He had his group set up pretty much business-wise the same way. Like, that's how I learned what writers were and just the whole business side of stuff. So shout outs to Derek. But I was doing all of that, man, and still working. So I was like pushing 9 to 5 gigs, group, trying to do it all. But then I got to a point where I looked at it and I said, bro, if I really feel like God placed me in this to really do this, I gotta give it like my full attention. So for you guys, I just want to know, like, what was a moment, if you can remember, that you could just think of and say to yourself, like, yo, that was a time for me where I was like, you know what, I need to kick this in, I need to put my all into it, I really need to work at my career as an artist.
Yes, I'll go. I guess I will preface it by saying I never really had a plan B, bro. I started singing before I could talk, you know what I mean? So I always had the desire to be a singer. My desire to be an artist really started at 12. I did like all before that, growing up on Mike and Young Mike, seeing how Michael Jackson, was a child artist and was amazing at it. Yeah. I always had that dream of like, man, I want to be a young singer, but I didn't really understand the dynamic or the label of an artist, So I had the desire, but at 12 is when I said, okay, like that was like when I did my first studio session, my first like talent show. So I was hooked.
Oh, D.
You know what I mean? Like I was hooked immediately. It was like the greatest drug ever, And from there, like I said, I never really had a plan B. Music was all I wanted to know. It wasn't all I knew, but it was all I wanted to know. And like I just pursued it from 12 years old and just didn't stop. Come hella high water or hard times, good times, it was always me. And I was always that. So yeah.
What about you, bro? Like, how you?
That's encouraging as a mug to me. I'm gonna tell you why, man. Because 10 years of solo artistry, you know, of course, doing it longer is different. I feel like every day I'm renewing that passion, telling myself I gotta go a little harder, gotta go a little further, gotta go. As I'm sure it is with everybody else, but for me, it's funny how parallel our lives are. I didn't start singing until 12 though. I wish I started earlier, but I had a fervent love of music since I was a baby. Like there were songs in my teenage years that like I would hear and I would know the chorus. So I'm like, why do I know this song but I don't know the words? And I used to make fun of my parents and like my friends would be like, that's because my parents used to play it in the room. You know what I mean? I didn't want to become an artist until graduation, like after college. Like that was when that started. But I mean, I wanted to. My parents, you know, like you said, down south for us, it's like that for Haitians. You're the doctor, lawyer, engineer. That's it, right? And I remember I took my parents' words literally. They was like, if you graduate college, you can do whatever you want. I said, oh, word. Copy.
Don't tell me that. Do not tell me that.
Copy. And this was when I was still part of that Haitian gospel group, and I was doing a few things with my bro Jose for like he's like one of my mentors like growing up too, because he was doing it for a hot minute. So so up until I would say 24 is when I said I'm gonna go full throttle. And then again, wish I would started early, because you know you learn the music, you learn the business, you learn so many different things, and even finding yourself as an artist. You know, so but then fast forward here. But to answer that question, like it's crazy, because for me, I feel like I always say there is no plan B, but then I come up with plan Bs just in case. And
just
I think
in case,
quarantine did that. Like I have my whole real estate license, but I've practiced it somewhat. But I'm thankful because it added to the artistry arsenal. You know, business management is so important, and I didn't even know what that meant. So, but anyways, since 24 and still now, bro, like I'm still at it the best I can. I'm trying to renew that love every day.
Now, what is it that's keeping y'all going though? Like, what is it? Support? Like, I know my support system with my family is very strong. Like, you know, but it's definitely those times where it's just you may not even have the answer to what's next. You know, and I know I might be jumping right now, but even with just knowing when it was the time to kick it in and knowing when to go full throttle, it's like also those moments when you just don't know what's next. So like, let's just say before those big moments happen for both of you guys, like for me, seeing you, you know, with her and everything that you have going on, that was big moments. But I'm pretty sure before that there was an unknown, and there was an unsure, and there was a lot of no's, and there was a lot of, you know, well, I thought it was gonna be this way, and then it didn't turn out to be that way. Especially for you too, Berto, like, you know, even with the things that you've accomplished, especially The Voice, which I want to get into, and then even after The Voice, like what was life like, you know, once you've gotten through that process and achieved that, it's like now the what if from that moving forward into the next stage as an artist. So for you, how was that? So that gray area between.
For me, you said when you asked what keeps me going. I owe it to 12-year-old me. I owe it to him to see the end of this journey. So every day I wake up, you know, I make a promise to him, like, yo, we gonna make it. We gonna make it. You believed so hard. I'm gonna do this for you. I got you. You know what I mean? So it's really to, you know, to make that 12-year-old Leek like accomplished. But dealing with the gray areas again, like when you don't, like for me, it was literally the only thing I had was the passion. You know what I mean? Like, and the passion was my currency. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't about the money. It wasn't about the fame. Like, all of those things are, you know, tangible. But, you know, the passion is something that's invaluable. And that was something I would hold on to, you know, time and time again, through and through. Like, whenever it got rough, I remembered why I sing and why I'm in love with music. And that would just get me through whatever, like, and to to further answer, you know, every step on the journey was like a what if. You know, like if you look at like my history, I stumbled into Livray. I came back. True story. I came back from a month in college. I was in Syracuse. I had gotten walking pneumonia. Came back. I was like, nah, I can't do this. I can't do school. I had no plan. I was just like, I can't do it. I already know what I want to do.
That's real.
My aunt ends up telling me about an audition for a group that she heard on, I think it was either 1190 or 107.5. One of the two. They had advertised that my group was, you know, holding auditions. I had nothing going on, so I was like, I might as well. So I literally stumbled into that. You know what I mean? Like, I just walked into it and got it, and then that led me into singing background, and that you know what I mean? That led me to singing with her. So everything was a gray area for me. Everything wasn't. It wasn't always planned. It was literally like walking by faith. You know what I mean? And just ending up where I'm supposed to be. Somehow, some way, I ended up where I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, parallel. For me, what keeps me going is the same thing as what you started with. Honestly, man, it's such a cliche, but it's the truth. It's the love for the music, and you know, you're doing this for so long. It would suck. I always picture that like this meme or this bit of wisdom when they speak, when it says you're chiseling at this rock, right? And it's like just when you stop, you could have reached that place, right? And I'm so addicted to that, you know, and but also at the same time, like, for doing it so long, I'd understand if I did it for like 3 months and I gave up. Cool. I know, dang, 10 years, and then before that, the road work to get into that, like, it's like, I gotta continue. You feel me? Yeah. But I know I just went but it's because of how heavy the process is, right? But it, like, again, I got my real estate license, but you don't see me putting in half the work I put in for music, you know. And that's not to say that 40-year-old me might not do that. You never know, because now this turned me into a businessman, but like more of a businessman. But you know, the music is so beautiful. And when you're growing as an artist, as a writer, as a singer, it's like during quarantine, I feel like I grew. During the voice, I grew. You know, and then but just kept growing, and then during quarantine, growing as a guitarist, as a vocalist, as a writer. I'm just like, ain't no way I'm giving up now. I'm finally in my groove. Like, I feel like I'm in my groove now. You feel me? And so then that keeps me going. The gray area, child. The way I feel like I'm in a gray area right now.
There's always gonna be a gray area, though.
Yeah,
there's gonna always.
This year,
and it's the most uncomfortable. It's the most uncomfortable place to be in. And I feel like that sounds so cliche, but it really is, man. And you get to a certain point, a certain age in your life where it's just like, bro, I need everything to just start making sense. I need a lot of stuff to start making sense around me. Like, you know, and you start kind of like Xing out what doesn't.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like what I'm trying to get into now, like getting out of your own way and really trying to figure out what serves you and what doesn't. Because it can be a very thin line between what serves you based off of what supports you. And it's like, yeah, that supports me for this and that and the third, but does it really serve me?
Say that again, man.
And it's like that gray area for me as of late has really just been about what serves me. And it has nothing to do with any type of like situation or something that could have like happened that made me whatever. It's just like, no, James Dale, what serves you?
Yeah.
I love that.
And if it's outside of the box, if it's not what people think should serve you, if it's not what people have pinpointed you to be doing for the rest of your life, that's fine. But I had to learn how to kind of get out of my head with that. Between what serves me and what the people want.
Oh yeah, man.
Because as entertainers, that's what we do.
Right.
Well, people
and I want to make sure we make that clear. Like, it's not just artists for artists. Like, these are grown entertainers. Like, we are entertainers.
Yes, we
are.
You know
what I'm saying?
Performers.
and our rights. Like, we're artists, we're entertainers. So it's like finding that balance of coming out of your head and knowing what serves you, and then giving what the people, you know, the people what they want.
An authentic you.
Yeah.
Like that's the part reason why I no longer work, with X amount of companies, because I feel like they were like, you're pimping your dream for the dollar, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, not the pimping part, but because you gotta, your gifts will make room for you. And that's what I learned what that meant. Like, okay, you're making room for me, you're providing for me. But at the very same time, this is one endless cycle that does not serve me. Yeah. And when I decided to quit that, when I pick up whatever gigs I need to pick up here and there, just because that's my journey. Because you never know. Like, so many other people are in our position, but they make it, or whatever make it means, right? But for me, it was like, all right, I've gotten so comfortable. Who am I as an artist? Wow. And then I was still releasing music as I was in these companies, but I realized that I'm releasing music geared towards the industry, but I'm also releasing music geared towards what I keep doing every single weekend. So now I'm releasing a pop song here, an Afro song here, or this one here, not really falling in love with who I am. And then I had to quit that because one of the few songs that I wrote before that, I showcased this year. And then Tiny Desk, I love that one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a 10-year-old song.
Wow.
And I said, I copy. It's not that it's 10 years old. It's authentic to me. And I said, I need to get back to that. Took down off of all my music just to do that. You feel me? And I, the beginning of that started on The Voice, actually.
Wow.
That journey, that awakening, if you want to call it, started on that. And I didn't even know that. It's in hindsight, I realize that now, as a vocalist and as a business person, as a man, as an artist.
Man. And that comes with responsibility too, though, bro. It's like once you make a decision like that, it's like the responsibility to stick with it.
Yeah. Because the reality for me was doing what serves me really meant leaving security and leaving the cushion and literally starting from ground zero. I didn't care, where I was and like who was offering me a deal. Like my bank account said one thing and it said you're starting from scratch.
People don't get that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
man.
it's like, Dad, what do you do when literally starting from scratch serves you?
You say you call
and
that?
People don't get it. And they don't understand why you're so
tough journey. Yeah. It's tough. Yeah. I mean, for me, it was just like, I'll weather it, but I knew it was gonna be difficult. Yeah. I knew it was probably gonna be the hardest because you're starting from scratch, but you also have to be an artist through that whole thing. So you still gotta create, you still gotta write, you still gotta sing, you gotta unlearn what you just came from.
Oh, the unlearning.
You know what I mean? God. So it was so much intertwined in scratch. You know what I mean? But I want to encourage anybody that's like at that stage or feeling like, I need to do what serves me, but I'm scared because I'm literally jumping off a cliff and it doesn't even look like there's water in sight to fall into. It looks like a hard fall. Take me for an example, you know what I mean? And I hope I can serve as inspiration. Yeah. Real talk.
That is definitely encouraging for me. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. And if anything, I would definitely just say get out of your head.
Out of it.
I live here.
Like,
out of it.
You could be your own worst enemy. Like,
it's
just
tough.
in your head, bro. Like, in your head constantly. You know what I mean? And it's like protecting your energy and your space, too.
Yes.
Learning what that is and protecting it, bro. It's like the minute I feel like something's off, it's like, nah, I'm good. I'm protecting my energy, my space, bro, because that's the only thing that keeps me sane at all, bro. So real quick, I just want to ask this, though. In the moments between both of you guys' careers, like, when do you feel your happiest? Like, is it when you're on stage? Is it when you're in the studio? Is it when... is it the whole creative process of just vision? Like, what's that part for y'all when y'all at your happiest? I know I'm at my happiest when I actually could sit back and look at everything I just had in my head and I see it. Like, I'm the one that has to write it all out. So if you come to my house there's like boards like on my wall of like, even with this, like things I need to do, and it's like stacked out. If I could look at that joint and look up and say that I did it, bro, that's my happy. Like it pushes me to get to my happy place.
Wow.
So like, what's your happy place?
Man, honestly, my happy space would be stage. Like, you know, nothing else matters at that moment. It's all about just doing what you love to do. It's the one space that I get to just be myself, and I'm not worried about the pressure of life or the pressure of being an artist. No, on that stage, I am an artist.
Yeah.
So I would say that's like my happy space. But as far as like my happiest of moments, I would say I'm living in it right now. Like I'm you know, working on my solo project, and I'm also producing for different artists. And the reason why this is the happiest I am is because I'm doing it with like my best friends, like my bros, since I was like 12. You know what I mean? Like literally like from the time span of when I decided I'm gonna take this serious, bros, day ones really started popping up and they stayed with me. So to have them with me, like in the studio, you know, like coming up with the craziest song concept or the craziest bar in a song, and we all get hyped. You know what I mean? Like we like, oh, it's
And
lit.
let the people know who you signed to one more time. Let's talk about that real quick.
You know, I'm blessed to be one of the artists under A$AP Ferg's new label.
Yes, sir.
Sewer Sounds.
Yes,
Shout out to the gang. Shout out to Ferg, Antha, Hunt Dog, Tweak Tune. That's my family.
And let me tell you, I was privileged. Don't even mean to cut you off. I was privileged to come to this man's event that he had during Fashion Week, bro.
Yeah.
Didn't even tell the people. Didn't even tell the people, man. This dude. First of all, the event was all black. You know what we do? You know what we do? Fashion, New York Fashion Week, all black affair. You know, whatever. And we pull up, man, and his whole gang is in there, man. I mean, he had his whole squad like just loaded, man. And then he released some or not necessarily released, but let us hear some of his new like material, man. And dude, y'all not
2023, man. 2023. Y'all better get ready. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know. If y'all don't know what's up, y'all will know what's up. I'm just saying. Y'all know what's up. Y'all know it's up.
It's amazing, man. So yeah,
Thank you, bro.
So yeah, continue. I just wanted to make sure
Thank
people
you.
knew.
I love that.
People knew what was happening.
Yeah, man. So you know, again, shout out to the sewer. But being able to like have fun with my day ones, like the reason why that means so much to me is because of the music, I felt like I lost so much time with them. So it's literally like hanging out with my best friends, like my childhood friends. But you know, we do this for the music. You know what I mean? Like it's a different playground. You know what I mean? So I'm excited every time one of them pull up and they like, all right, what are we working on today? And I'm the only one singing. You know what I mean? And they're so invested. Like, yo, what are we working on today? What are we like? What are we doing today? Like, what's the energy for today? What we feeling like? You know what I mean? So I gotta shout out my bros, Yangi, Sos, Ben, Zoo, Fortune. That's my family. Those are my bros, my ride or dies, and yeah, man, you'll be hearing more from us.
Yeah. How's it been in that process though, like with them in the studio and stuff?
It's been it's been fun. It's been challenging because again, like starting from scratch. I'm not only starting from scratch as a singer, but now I'm like I said, I had to unlearn a lot of things from being in the background. So you know, they were very encouraging during that journey. I'm still kind of like unlearning a few things, but you know, just being comfortable saying certain things in my music.
Let's talk about
being
that,
comfortable,
Yeah.
like singing my truth, and having them to kind of have like bro conversations, like, yo, bro, like, man, I don't know if I should say this, or I don't know. It's like, well, is it your truth? So why are you ashamed of your truth?
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like that validation, and it can only come from them because they know me. Like, they know me through and through. They know what type of women I like. They know, you know what I mean? Like, I can be as honest with them as possible, and it reflects through the music, because I feel like if my bros love it, I'm good.
Good.
You know what I mean? And I'll feel more inclined to putting on a great performance when it actually comes out, because
1,000%.
my bros approved it. You know what I mean? So, word.
Is that the same for you too? So kind of like when you're doing your music and when you're like in the studio, you're creating and stuff like that. Like, is it your team that keeps that?
No, yes and no. I mean, for me, my happiest place is definitely creation, rehearsals, and then oftentimes after the stage, because
The same way.
and it's only because I haven't reached the place yet where I have a team, but it's not like massive enough where I can like lay back. There's only been a few situations where everything has happened where somebody else took care of it, and I got a chance to actually feel like, oh man, this is great. I can just focus on the music. You feel me? And then I can just have a good time. But oftentimes, like say picking up the guitar now, right? Putting that to my arsenal and like taking solos and stepping out, especially on a song that I love. It's like, oh man, I don't realize it. It's my friends that pointing out. My eyes are closed. I'm just like, I'm here with it. I'm just like, oh, it feels good. Creating a new banger, but under I call him the Awakened Zaxaiii, because this project that I'm going to be releasing is a mix of myself in the last 10 years, but all the songs that I can say was me in that season, but isn't truly 1,000% me to a degree, right? Because I took like 2 years off. When I say 2 years, it wasn't like stop performing. It was just like 2 years to wean out the industry, that industry, and then sit down with who I am as a vocalist, sit down with who I am as what genre I am, or especially when writing for the people, it's like, okay, but I love this here too, you know what I mean? But then also create a sound that's authentic and not necessarily the song that Tiny just liked, but something to have that same essence, and now place it to 10 years later me and create this project. It's like, I'm excited to create this new sound, because it's a me. There's no category I can put it in. That excites me. And when I think about these arrangements, I remember this interview by MJ. Like, MJ's my biggest inspiration ever. One he said, let the music tell you what he wants it to be. But then there's this one interview with him and Oprah, and Oprah's trying to talk to him, and he's just like, and just like, you're not interrupting his groove. He is locked. He's locked.
And he don't see nothing else.
And I'm just, and I didn't know that was so important as a musician and artist, but I knew that was in me. And if anything, that's also what pushes me, just to get that idea and those ideas out. I don't know what's gonna happen after that, but I said, Lord, just let me get those ideas out, because it's so grandiose, and it's so bananas, and it's so ADDs. That's what I got, and I'm okay with that. Like it's just all over the place, and so that's when I'm my happiest. And then getting a chance for that idea to come to life the way I see it is bananas, and definitely that's my happiest place. It's still a stage, but I feel like when I'm able to release that, and I'm praying to God every day that I can, you feel me? Then I know I'll be my happiest, because that'll be my true self. Not to say that the music that I'm releasing isn't my true self. It's to say that when I wrote Kiss Me Again, when I wrote that other song, when I wrote these other songs, that was me 4 years ago. I just now released it. So there's a different connection.
I got what you're saying.
Versus now I'm like, present, ready. Oh man, like, just give me the smoke. I want all the smoke. Just give it to me, and I'm just ready to take off. You feel me?
Yeah.
So hopefully that answered the question.
And it did, and this is why I'm asking. And I know we gotta wrap up soon, but I think I'm at a place where I'm trying to find my happiness again. And I think that's just because of everything, with life. I think I still haven't gotten over a lot of different things that's happened to me. Like even during the pandemic, like I lost a lot of people close to me. You know what I mean? And at that time, I'm still working. For those who don't know, like I work at Allen Cathedral.
Right.
And we started, getting right back in the swing of things for the sake of the people, and we were just broadcasting and taping every single week during the pandemic.
By the way, I just have to give your floor.
Facts.
You encouraged the daylights out of me during the pandemic. Heavy.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
seeing you on that gram. I was like, go ahead, James.
Yes, sir.
Man, like people don't understand. It was still a scary moment for us, and we're encouraging everybody else. And it's a lot of times we're recording and I'm not getting home. After that, we're in the studio to make sure we over that. Like I'm not getting home almost every week till about maybe 3-4 in the morning. Like working with Stanley Brown. Shout out to Stanley Brown and everybody at Allen Cathedral.
Legend. You even know me. I know him though. He's a legend.
Yeah,
OG.
And it was like the ground was real during the pandemic, and I think haven't gotten a chance to really sit down and get my mental together since then. And I'm trying to find what makes me happy. I think I'm working and I'm grinding and everything looks what it needs to be, and it's fine. My life is, don't get me wrong, I'm fine, you know what I mean? But really sitting down is just like understanding all that's been happening. It's like I've learned to give myself a little bit more grace with finding what makes me happy. Because before I was like, what's wrong with me?
Right.
Like why is it not making me happy? Why am I singing every week and I'm not happy? Like I'm a singer, I'm an artist, I'm this, I'm that. Why am I showing up to rehearsals like
heavy?
Or showing up to a gig and I'm like, so I'm still trying to like rediscover what makes me happy right now and try and maybe it's because of everything else, it's like I gotta start just moving some things off the table and really just focusing on something. And this is why this podcast, my new music that's coming out, because now I'm back in the studio now with Jason and Charles, Bad Kids, Resistance.
Let's go.
And we are working on some new music, man, and hopefully by the time this comes out, I have my next single that's already out and working and moving and shaking, bro. And I'm finally getting into that pocket that you guys are in now when it comes down to just really artistry and, like you were saying earlier, like your truth, and being able to express that through music. And I've watched both of you guys do that, in your own rights and your own strengths. And seeing Berto vocally, I already told about you, bro. But Berto, anybody who know me, y'all know I hate verses. I am a driver type guy. You give James the mic on a drive, it don't even have to be church. Give me a good Jodeci, give me a good whatever, give me a good Can We Talk, give me a good whatever. If there's a drive to it where I can get it grooving, that's my pocket. I hate verses.
Oh my God.
But that's a skill. People don't understand that as an artist. Like you have to take people through a journey. And it starts with where it comes, like that verse. Berto got a way to put you in a pocket. Like he will start a song in a pocket and a feel that sets it up for everything else. And that's how it's supposed to be. But Berto has a swag behind it. I don't care what nobody say. Berto got a swag behind it. So even watching Berto like just drive a song where it needs to go. I picked that up from you in a lot of different occasions, man. And just learning like, all right, James, how you gonna do this verse? Like, cause I'm just, some singles are just programmed to what their pocket is. And I know me, I'm a driver all day. So giving you guys your flowers and just saying like, I've been watching you guys, if nobody else, this is what this is all about. Like it ain't about no A-list celebrity, no nothing. It's like from people who've inspired me and just watching you live your lives, man. Like, I appreciate you guys just not stopping, being the same everywhere. I see y'all in certain settings. I see you in LA. We both at the BET Awards. On stage.
Yeah, I literally on.
Gonna be there?
I'm literally.
Nah,
on,
well, I don't know. I don't think I didn't know. I don't think
we didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like
For real, I love stories.
I
like
looked
that,
over. We're getting ready to perform with her, and he's like in the cut, and I go over to give him a pound. Like, yo, we home now. We're home. Like, we outside. Like, you know what I mean? So
I had came out there for BT Experience.
Yeah.
I did a show out there for that, and
had a fire suit on, good comb,
yes, Lord.
good fit. I was like, all right, James, I see you. I had to, like, it didn't matter. And that's the thing about community, you know, real community. It don't matter the platform, you know, like when you're in real community, you honor your brothers, you honor your sisters.
Yes,
I don't care.
Yes,
I got 5 seconds till the curtains go up. Oh, that's my dog. Let me go say what up.
Out there for different occasions too, man. Yeah. You know, I'm out there for BT Experience. I happen to get the tickets for the show. I'm right there in the cut on stage, and I look, I'm like, oh, that's her, and I see my boy, and I'm like, yo, ran up and gave love.
Yeah, I love road stories.
But bro, this one. So my last question to both of you guys, man. Are you at a place now where you feel like you can accept somebody giving you your flowers? Or do you feel like you're still hustling to where if somebody tries to give you your flowers, you don't know how to accept that right now?
I'm learning grace for myself, like you said.
Okay.
Because I still don't feel like I have a lot of accolades, and I think that's also what pushes me to go farther in whatever it may be. But I'm learning to, you know what? When somebody gives you a compliment, accept it.
Yeah.
I'm not too good at receiving that, and I'll be completely honest. You feel me? And that's what's also pushing me as vocalists. But one, it was family. You were family. I'm gonna come on this podcast. I don't care if you're telling me, come through the basement, let's shed. Like, you know, it's love, and I go live a lot of people these days. The way I'm tired. But I'm learning to. Learning to, and so it's like, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I'm looking at it in this way, right? I'm understanding I accomplished a lot up until this point, so I accept them, but I also take those same flowers and kind of like look at it as, okay, this is going to be kind of weird, but the water that created those flowers, the time that created those flowers are now watering my journey from that point to now, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful for it, you know what I mean? I appreciate it, I'm humbled by it, but it's also serving as like the food and the nutrients for the flowers to come, because I'm very understanding of like, wow, I'm in a new beginning, you know what I mean? So it's motivating, it's definitely motivating to be able to even take time, because for a long time, and just being transparent, for a long time, because of knowing who I am and who 12-year-old Leek believed he was, you know, I couldn't fully appreciate the time spent in these other avenues. So like when I watch certain things or look back at certain things, you know, I'm not present. I'm like more so like on the assembly line, you know what I mean? So I look back at that, and because of the flowers that are being given, I'm able to now look at it like, okay, no, I was a part of history. I did this, I did that.
Like actually sit
like,
down.
Wow,
and look at
like
it.
like instead of being in it, I remember the first time, like after I left singing background, I went to her concert at the Apollo. That was my first time ever seeing her perform.
Wow.
Because I was always performing with her. You know what I
Love
mean?
that. Wow.
So I was able to literally be a fan. I was able to experience it in the way everyone else did. And I was like, man, this is what y'all got?
Yeah.
This is what y'all experience?
You don't realize it, and everybody's like, yo, that was amazing. Like, thank you. But it's like,
right.
I'm just working. I'm just locked in.
Yeah.
So thank you for the flowers, because it kind of gives me a reference point to the greatness that is inside me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I really appreciate it, bro.
Oh,
and coming from you, like you're come on, man. You're legit. I know you say you're from Monroeville, but you are definitely one of New York's elite.
Facts.
Real talk.
Agreed.
Real talk. You're definitely one of New York's elite.
They ain't a lot.
My brother.
They ain't a lot, and I can say that. In love, not no hate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was gonna say something too because I know we run out of time. There's something that you done said earlier about
go, bro.
About just knowing when to go and taking that leap of faith. Here's something I wish somebody told me. This is for like the young Zaxaiis and like the young whatevers, right? And taking that leap of faith, and I'm a believer. I'm gonna be 90 with a whole bunch of Grammys, and I'll claim that. So I don't give a damn. I'm always gonna say that same advice.
Urge you.
Yeah.
One, you pray on that, and you make sure God didn't tell you first.
That's good.
But then, in knowing that God told you first, also put the action behind the prayer. You can't, because faith without works is dead, right? I ain't trying to go preaching.
No, bro.
But if anything, this year it's been teaching me to have, like, me regrounding myself in God. Like, this year especially taught me that. And I feel like a lot of, like, I remember this one cat was telling me how he wanted to do this, wanted to do that, right? And I was like, oh man, you should definitely go into it, right? But then I heard them sing, and I was like, oh, you need a whole lot of work. And it's not to say that God can't propel you to a certain place well beyond your years, but it's to say that don't come, expecting, you feel me, a contract or an opportunity, and you ain't putting no work, you ain't putting no vocal treatment, you ain't taking care of your voice, you ain't doing no ear training, you ain't doing no, you know what I mean? Like, you're not doing any of that. So if you know that you're in a position where you know that you're incredibly talented, you're gifted, you're called, you done prayed about it, you take that leap of faith.
Yeah.
If you know you ain't put in no work, do not give yourself any type of delusional. I mean, like, don't be don't be, hey now, because listen, you can't be blessed by your own mess now. It don't make sense.
Yeah.
Don't make it make sense.
Yeah.
You feel me? When you put in that work, then you can be like, yo, God was good.
Yeah.
All right, here you go. Process.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I think if it was for me, if anything, I would just say, when you know exactly what your strength is, don't ever put yourself in a situation to doubt that. I don't care what it is. I think for me, that was the only way I was sustaining and just keeping myself going through all of that, like knowing what I got. Because people are very quick to tell you what you don't have.
Say that.
And if you don't keep telling yourself what you do have, you start to think that you have nothing. It's like, yo, then why am I really here? Like, y'all, like, why am I really present, And that might not be everybody's story, but for some people, it is that. You know what I mean? And I think for me, what helped me a lot in different situations was just really locking in on what I have. And knowing that. Because
Owning
there are
that.
singers that can sing circles around me, bro. I know that without a doubt. You know what I mean? But I also know what I bring to the table. And I also know what I possess. And it took a while for me to get there. You know what I'm saying? And while everybody's saying, like you said, like receiving flowers and everything, I've been told things as well. And I'm like, giving the same cliche, thank you, love it, appreciate it, whatever. But it took me a while to really say to myself, you know what, Jay? What you got, don't nobody else really have. And that is the truth. And that goes for anybody.
That's
so
very true.
If I was to say that to anybody listening, what you have, nobody else has. And a lot of times you may think it's not good to you, but it is good to somebody else. And that should be enough to keep you pushing. That should be enough to keep you just trying to reach the best person, the best version of yourself, is when you know that what you got
is it for you.
Malik can't do it.
Yeah.
Zakai can't do it. Like, they have to call you.
Facts.
They got to call you to do what you do. So that should be enough to get you on your game to then practice what you got, like putting that into gear, what Berto said. Clearing your mind and understanding exactly your purpose, like Malik said, and just knowing, like, yo, no matter what room you in, shine and show love. When you put all of those factors in, man, I think you become a better version of yourself. But then definitely, like, the biggest artist that they can't be touched.
Definitely.
So, guys, thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for this.
It's over already.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah,
No,
we even get to the
I know.
Dirty Roach stores.
You know what? We might have to do a part 2.
So I'm in my boxes and somebody knock on my door. Nah.
Because we didn't get to a lot of other stuff either, like on some of these, like, stories on the road and stories and everything. So I'm gonna definitely have to bring you guys back.
We gotta do a part 2, man.
You got to,
Call
man.
it.
Yeah. But this was a good kickoff. I thank you guys again. My family came in for the first episode of Artists for Artists. You guys stay tuned. There's more episodes on the way. Thank you guys for even watching. Real quick, Malik, let them know wherever they can find you. Give them your socials. Give them whatever you got coming out, songs, anything.
For sure, look for me 2023, Black Pearl Project. Follow me at Leek Official, Leek Official, like that.
Yes, sir.
Or you can find me, though you call me Berto, you can find me as Zaxaiii, but Zaxaiii.
Man, and y'all know where y'all can find me, okay? On
Yeah,
Instagram,
JJ
man, James Dell. This is Artists for Artists. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all in the next episode, man. Thank y'all for rocking.
Thank you for listening to the
Artist for Artists
podcast, where we as artists offer an immersive experience through real-life storytelling and views on the music and media industry. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media for updates and additional content at Artist for Artists Podcast. And we'll see you next time on Artist for Artists Podcast. No cap.